Welcome to America Armed and Free, a program dedicated to preserving your God-granted, constitutionally guaranteed individual right to keep and bear arms in defense of self or state, understanding that the citizens are the militia. This program is produced by Charles Heller and is not endorsed by anyone who isn't pro-choice on freedom.
We are the guardians of America, armed and free.
Indeed we are, as at least one of my guests has been in both the Army and the Navy. And the other guest, I don't know. Military? No. Okay. Bill Nordbrock is lieutenant and the state public information officer for the Arizona Rangers. And Max Reichscott, that's hard to say quickly, Max, is the lieutenant in charge of recruiting for the whole state or for our chapter here?
For the Southwest region.
For the Southwest region. Okay. And both of them are here to talk to us about the Arizona Rangers. I have, other than knowing what the topic is and who the guests are, and Bill I've known for quite some time, and local realtor, former realtor, still is.
Just recently retired.
Recently retired as a realtor, and Max is still working in asset protection, and so, and you got to talk right into the aim at the, no, you don't have to get that close, but you just have to aim at the front. These mics are directional. Watch what happens as I'm talking. Watch me for a second, and as I'm talking, and you see what happens to my voice when I turn away from the mic. So stay aimed at the mic. All right. I don't know. Is this your first time or second time you've been on the air here? Were you on once with Sherry?
I've been on a couple times with Sherry.
Oh, okay. By phone or in the studio?
In the studio.
Oh, okay. That's how you could find the place.
Yes.
Because you're the only one who I haven't had the first time here that I haven't sent a map to, and you got here ahead early. So that's a good indication that you can navigate either without GPS or that your GPS doesn't report us in the wash a block and a half to the north. So, when was the Arizona Rangers, in its current form, formatted? We know about the territorial days, but the modern iteration of the Rangers, when were they formed?
In 1957. Some of the original surviving Rangers from the group that was disbanded in 1909 started us up in 1957 as what we are today.
There were still some of them left, huh?
Yes.
They must have been pretty young bucks when they were original Arizona Rangers.
We think so, yes.
Yeah, I guess. How long did the last surviving original Arizona Ranger live, or do you know? It's okay to not know.
I think you got me on that one.
It's okay.
Now, Beatty, his wife, she's still alive, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, she was receiving a pension. He was shot and killed back in the early 1900s, and I think she's still around here in southern Arizona, Sierra Vista.
Interesting. I believe. Wow. So that ranch life will do you good.
Yes.
All right. So what do the Rangers do today?
I'll have you talk about the nonprofit part of it, okay? Our primary purpose is to assist law enforcement. We're all volunteers, 501c3. We provide assistance to any law enforcement agency in the state of Arizona, whether it be local, federal, state, or tribal, with anything they need. Typically, they call us out for the real boring, time-consuming things like there's a fallen tree, power lines on the road, wash closures, traffic control for fatal traffic accidents, things like that. And our purpose is to free up the time of the sworn peace officers. We are not sworn peace officers. Free up their time so they can go protect each other in the communities that they serve.
Mm-hmm. Has the Tucson Police ever called you?
We're actually working with Tucson Police Department right now for the first time in a long time, working with them on the, is it the Sunlink? Is that the proper name for the tram downtown? Yeah. Apparently there's staffing shortages, which they're struggling with. It's created a situation where it's hard for them to fill off-duty contracts that they've got, so they've asked the Rangers to help, and we're working with them and Sunlink.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So would that mean that there's a presence of the Arizona Rangers actually riding on the trains?
Last night we were on all 4 trains during the U of A basketball game. Every one of them had a Ranger on there, just handing out masks and talking to people and having a good time.
That's pretty neat. And full regalia and uniform and all?
Yep.
Well, that's pretty neat. That of course there is no law against an armed presence on public transit in Arizona. So why not?
Yeah.
So I kind of like what Steve Farley said about the train. Have you ever heard it?
I don't think so.
Nope.
That's Steve Farley imitating the train horn once more with feeling. Talking about looking like a giant whale swimming through the streets of Tucson. So that's the one positive contribution the man's made to the community is that statement and that alone. All right. Anyway, I guess he's doing a good job of running the doghouse. So and the cat house as well. So anyway, I digress. Back to the Rangers. So what is it you are looking to achieve out of letting this audience know more about the Arizona Rangers?
So, as stated before, I'm the recruiting officer for the Southwest region, and we're trying to get our presence out there so that we can attract persons with a good moral character. They're over 21 and have a concealed carry permit that would like to give back to their community and assist law enforcement. And how does somebody go about volunteering to be a ranger, and what's the training for it? Well, they can go to our website, azrangers.gov, and they can find out, depending on what location they're at, they can find out what company they would qualify to be part of. Although we do have people that live in Casa Grande that come down to Sahuarita to the Madera Company. We have people in Oro Valley that go to Benson. So you really don't have to be in that region or in that geographical location. It just lets you know what's available to you. You can also contact myself at 520-347-9242, and I can put you in or point you in the right direction as well.
Wow, phone number at the speed of the pen. You've been listening. We'll have later on, we'll give you a chance to repeat that again. How in the world did a nonprofit end up with a .gov extension on its internet address?
That is a really good question.
I cannot answer that.
I think what happened originally in 1957 when we were formed, we were definitely formed as a nonprofit organization.
Right.
No affiliation with the state or any kind of agency status. I believe it was it 2002 or 2012, the state legislature actually passed a statute authorizing the Arizona Rangers to be in uniform, armed, and look like police officer to assist the police without impersonating a police officer. So they gave us some
cover.
Yeah, they authorized us, but they didn't authorize us with police powers or things that sworn peace officers have, so it's kind of a limited authorization. And I think through that, because there was legislative act and law from the Senate and the House, that we were able to get that .gov extension.
Folks, if you just tuned in late, you're listening to the America Armed and Free section of Liberty Watch, and we have Bill Nordbrock and Max Reichscott, who are both lieutenants with the Arizona Rangers, and they're talking about the Arizona Rangers and recruiting for SAME and what the Rangers do. And so, once again, it's azrangers.gov, which is wonderful. I mean, not that I love .gov addresses, but it's interesting that a quasi or an authorized organization, which is, when called upon, quasi-governmental, gets a .gov address. That's a true finagling or finaglement of something. And if you have a question, call in now at 520-790-2040 in the Imus Wilkinson Investment Management Studios. And once again, Max, if you want to give your number, go ahead.
520-347-9242.
If you'd like to be a member of the Arizona Rangers. In full disclosure, I was in the 80s. So,
you were?
In the late 80s. I was a Ranger for about a year and a half.
Which company?
Tucson Company.
Wow.
And I just had too much on my plate. And
why don't you come back? You've got plenty of time now.
Oh, yeah. I just host 3 radio programs, produce them all myself. host a fourth one that I executive produce and send in recorded. I'm a full-timer in the sales force here during the week, and on top of it, I'm active with the Arizona Citizens Defense League and the national spokesman for Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. But other than that, I got nothing going on. No, I'm already working 7 days a week, and I already should take way more days off than I do, and I'm already getting crispy, and I'm starting to get ready to start yelling at some people who ask stupid questions. I'm sorry. Sorry, that wasn't me. That was another voice. Okay.
So
you're just jealous because the voices are only talking to me. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. So also we also have associate rangers, which they're not armed. They kind of help out with some of the more administrative and recruiting stuff and more public affairs type stuff, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Say there's a listener out there with some graphic design skills, social media skills. They've got certain skills. They like to do it. They're good at it. We could use it. They can come in. We can swear them in as an associate ranger and certainly put their talents to good use.
If you saw the way I entered administratively, I entered the orders into natural log that go on the air here. You would never want me to do anything administrative for the Arizona Rangers.
Put on a badge and a gun, huh?
Yeah, the business manager here tears her hair out when I put an order in. Poor girl.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is until it happens. 520-790-2040 if you'd like to ask any questions, if you'd like to know more about the Arizona Rangers. We're up on our first break of the hour, so let's take break one of hour two, and we'll start that and fire it off now and bring the pot down so I can talk over it. And we're here with Bill Nordbrock and Max Reichscott of the Arizona Rangers, both lieutenants in there.
This is Herman Cain, and if it has a muzzle, a nozzle, or a blade, you'll find your topic on America Armed and Free. Sundays, right after Liberty Watch.
Swap shop trains are coming, rolling down that free market track. Sunday mornings, you can buy, sell, or trade anything lawful and moral on the swap shop. Let's listen.
Dawn Wells, is there anything you missed on the island?
Oh, well, actually, what I really missed, there we were with nothing to do. What I missed most was the swap shop. I mean, what fun we'd have had. I don't know how we'd have gotten a hold of you, but we'd have tried.
Swap Shop, Sundays 10 to 11 a.m., right before Liberty Watch.
I'm Oliver North, and like you, I'm listening on America Armed and Free with Charles Heller. Civilian disarmament is an essential precedent for every dictator who engages in mass murder.
Now the stranger started talking, made it plain to folks around. Was an Arizona Ranger, wouldn't be too long in town. He came here to take an outlaw back alive or maybe dead, and he said it didn't matter, he was after Texas Red, after Texas Red.
Indeed, and the question is, are the Rangers still after Texas Red? Max?
I think that's a little before my time.
Yeah, Marty Robbins lived into the 80s. Actually, two callers calling in, which is a pleasure, and we'll go to the first one. Caller, your first name, please.
Marty.
Marty. Oh, hey, I like that. I like your music. Go ahead, Marty.
Okay. Hey, I've got a lot of information on the Rangers.
Okay.
I actually knew one of the original Rangers, and he lived in Patagonia. His name was Chapo Beatty.
Chapo Beatty. We just talked about his wife. She was receiving an inheritance because he was the first Ranger killed in the line of duty, I believe.
Right. And they were, no.
No, you're right.
He didn't get killed. You know, he was alive. And he lived down in Patagonia.
Okay.
He was short in stature, but, quite a guy. And he died a number of years ago. Also, my background's in law enforcement. I started in Cochise County in 1962. And we used the Arizona Rangers in those years for a lot of things down there on the border, parades, traffic control, help supplement manpower and so forth. They had quite a large group of Rangers down there. Also, approximately 20 years ago, the Arizona Rangers petitioned the Arizona legislature to become sworn. And they batted that one back and forth for a number of years, but it never came to fruition. So they've always remained unsworn. But they tried to become sworn about 25 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I was in when they did that. I remember the controversy. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know a man named Shorty Offred?
Doesn't sound familiar. The guys I was in with Stan Levine and Ron Voight and a few other people that were in fact Ranger Ron that calls in. That's Ron. That's Ron. Yeah. So that is.
They've been around a long time, and they've been helping law enforcement for a whole number of years. Mm-hmm. And so I've been familiar with them since I started law enforcement in 1962, and so. All right. I just wanted to add that, and the fact that, I knew Mr. Beatty and so forth. I was just a young man then.
And, you still are.
Yeah, right.
A little bit more antique, but still young.
So, Marty, what's keeping you from coming down to a meeting and joining the Rangers?
Well, my age. I'm retired law enforcement, and I retired a number of years ago. And I'm in the geezer class right now, and that would be the main reason. And
Starfleet actually has a class of starships named after you in that respect, but they're trying to achieve Warp 1.
See, they'd have to supply me with a vehicle with a bed in it where I could take a nap once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got Segways for off-road now,
Yeah.
Stop or I'll run over your foot.
So we'd have to provide you with an ambulance.
Right.
No big deal. Okay,
a lot of these guys, their names they just don't come to mind, but.
Well, that goes along
there for years and years.
That goes along with the bed. All right,
That's
Marty,
right.
You have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks, Marty.
Take care.
And caller, your first name, please.
Eb.
Oh, okay, Eb, go ahead.
Hey, I've got a question for your guests there. When you're working, are you assigned to somebody else, or are you a lone ranger?
Drum roll? Do you have a drum roll?
Somewhere do I? Oh, I do. Say the punchline again, Eb.
Or are you a lone ranger?
I like it. So, it's a great question. When we're on duty, typically we like to work in pairs. When we're working with law enforcement, we definitely work with them and at their direction and their control. The statute clearly defines that and says that. When we're working alone, private security, or helping nonprofits, we do try to keep at least 2 rangers on duty at any one time, in most cases.
Great.
That was the
Thank you.
Yeah, see ya. And that was the majority of what I did when I was there. I ended up doing when there was large events at like the Fort Lowell soccer shootout. And
that's coming up next weekend, I think.
And are you guys?
Yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be there. Yeah, we used to do that one. And then also at gun shows, we do the overnight.
We just did the gun shows yesterday. I think they're going on today, too.
Oh, yeah, at the... what do you call it, at the Expo Center.
Yep.
Ours were at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, those were the big ones.
Yeah, and the Crossroads show, and we would do the overnights and the security there, and we'd be, of course, the only people with loaded guns in the building. So
Charles, back in your day as a ranger, did you work with Dave Bruce?
Yes.
He's still there.
Really?
30 years later.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Dave Bruce is an instructor at Pima College, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, with the academy, I believe.
Right, yeah.
Is he still teaching?
I don't know. He's probably retired.
Yeah,
long retired by now. So what else do the Rangers do besides doing security at various events and assisting law enforcement? What about the nonprofit side of the Rangers?
So we actually have 2 missions. And one of them, of course, is supporting law enforcement. The other one is supporting the youth of Arizona. And so we provide security services for different events, such as the 4th Avenue Street Fair, which we just did. The Madera Company down in Sahuarita, and I believe Tucson helped out a little bit as well with the El Tour. We provided traffic control with that. But the money we raise through these security gigs that are not related to law enforcement goes towards helping the youth of Arizona. I believe Tucson company just recognized a young lady at the last state meeting. What was her name?
Oh, yeah, that Ranger Capri. That's almost a story in itself. But
Ranger Capri. And I know Benson Company, they help provide saddles and stuff for the Queen, the rodeo queen. And
I'm glad you didn't mean something else. Not that I'm here to judge.
Where's that drum roll?
No, not for that one.
They also provide meals for families, disadvantaged families around the holidays.
Gap Ministries and Gospel Rescue Mission, and we donate our time with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, badges and backpacks, giveaway with Pima County Sheriff's, Shop with a Cop. We do lots of different things for the community.
I just did Shop with a Cop yesterday with Sahuarita Police Department, and then we also the Madera Company worked the Winterfest with them as well.
And Charles, one of the benefits that a lot of people never think about, including some of the Rangers, the approximate 86,000 hours we donated last year, pretty much don't cost taxpayers a dime.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's worth, but...
Well, it's worth the amount of time that they didn't have to pay a commissioned officer to do that same function if they indeed would. And and there is a backsplatter benefit. That's my term. It's just something I invented. But there's a backsplatter benefit to it, and that is that the amount of energy that law enforcement exerts on doing their job, the necessity of it is lessened by people who volunteer and can fill in those gaps. And to that extent, that a cop is less stressed and less worn out. There's an intangible benefit to the idea that the cops aren't completely alone.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder and nervous stuff that complicates your life later. That could have a huge effect on that.
What you need to do is find a ranger that's certified in Reiki, and they can give massages to the other rangers.
I'm making a note of that here.
Yeah, right. Maybe get a chiropractic ranger, you know.
But, you know,
that wouldn't sound right. That wouldn't look good on the badge. Anyway, you were saying.
You brought up somebody with Reiki, but it's funny because our ranks, we have people from ER doctors to security guards to lawyers to truck drivers. So we encompass every walk of life, and everybody's experience adds to the ranger experience.
Yeah. Stan Levine was there, and he was an ER. I think he was an ER doctor. I know he's a doctor, but it was nice to have him on all of our assignments. Not that anybody ever got injured, although there has been, in the last 12 or 15 years, there has been one ranger killed in the line of duty at a bank ATM.
Yeah, I think it was Sierra Vista. It was 1992.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
He was making a deposit from the proceeds, and somebody tried to rob him and got into a shooting with the guy. And he did shoot the guy who killed him, but he did. Yeah. He was killed.
Yeah, he shot the guy in the leg. He's currently still serving, and I think eligible for parole hearing in a couple of years. They're just looking at that.
Boy, I'm not in favor of that. You kill somebody in a felony, and this ain't very libertarian. But I think if there's due process of law, you ought to donate your organs to people who use them more effectively. I'm not expecting the Arizona Rangers to comment on that. It's mine. If you have a personal opinion, I'll hear it. But
I'm frustrated. You probably heard about the Phoenix police officer doing a traffic stop about a week, 10 days ago, and was met with several rounds of gunfire. He's fighting for his life currently.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And the gentleman, I'll use the term loosely, that shot him had been sentenced 5 years earlier to a 27-year sentence, and during his sentence got involved in riots and fights in prison and added 11 or 12 years to that term. And they released him with no probation or anything in March due to COVID. They thought it was a risk for him to stay in the prison, and they let him go, and now he shot this young officer that was just fresh out of the academy. It's sad.
It very much is. I have, and Max knows this, I have my disagreements with some strategies and tactics of law enforcement. I do. I think the doctrine in law enforcement that the police officer always goes forward and makes the arrest. has to be called into question, because yes, they do, but sometimes if they're always going forwards, it ends up with something like a traffic stop that ends in deadly force. And look at what happened with Dante Williams in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Where the officer meant to pull her taser, accidentally pulled her gun and shot him and killed him.
Yeah.
What if the other officer, and the guy had a warrant, the guy had active warrants, all right, so they had every legitimate reason to stop him, but what if it looked like he was going to drive away, and they just backed out of his car and formed a roadblock or put out some speed strips?
You can catch him later.
You can catch him. I realize he will pose a danger to other people in the community. I realize there's an argument for stopping him there no matter what. But when you look downstream at the consequences, of what could happen, why in the world not and Max, you're a former police officer, so I'm not putting you on the hot seat. You can say, go away, we're here to talk about the Rangers, and it's okay with me. Okay,
I kind of prefer that.
Okay, fine, no problem. But, no, Max and I were neighbors for 5 years. So we've given
best neighbor I've ever had, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do something right? I didn't mean to. But we've given each other more rides to each other's mechanic. By the way, you should go to Perfection Auto Works. And to each other's mechanic. But anyway, we've known him for a long time. But Max and I have our loving disagreements over law enforcement. But anyway, back to the Rangers. Once again, how do people get in touch? How do people... If they want to just simply contribute, you'll take money. If they don't want to be a Ranger, yes?
We would welcome any donations. We are a 501c3. It would be tax deductible. We can promise we'll use that money wisely to benefit the community. And one thing I would suggest, if you're interested, like Max said, do a little research on the website. If you're interested, come to a meeting. Meet the people. It's fantastic. I've been a Ranger for about 3 years, and the camaraderie in this organization is unlike anything I've ever felt. I imagine it's like being in the military, that brotherhood, being in law enforcement, very similar. Mm-hmm. When you wear a uniform, a badge, and a gun, and you go into harm's way together and help each other, it forms a tight bond, and it's a great group of people. Just recommend you come down and check it out.
And the website again is
azrangers.gov,
or the phone number
520-347-9242. That's my personal phone number, and I answer it almost all the time.
Except when you're on the radio.
Yes.
Call them right now.
No, don't. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. We're going to go to another topic, but I appreciate you being with. I'm going to fire up the next break.
Thank you,
get the music going, and you're welcome. And don't get up until I shut off your mics. All right, here we go. All right, you're welcome. See you guys. And we'll be right back with our final topic.
Welcome to Monaural Radio, where we sing in black and white.
Shotgun shells on a little scrub pine.